Hey guys, welcome back to Stone Ape Problems. This is Lewis. So, on today's episode, the topic I really wanted to kind of obviously get my opinion about is why communism continues to remain such a prevalent issue in Latin America, right? So, ever since the wave of communism, the 50s and 60s, every single Latin American country has either been directly taken over by a communist regime or a communist party or has been threatened by a communist takeover. There's obviously communist countries going on right now. You got Nicaragua, you got Cuba, you got Venezuela. Whether those are actually communists or not is up for debate. A lot of people say they're communist, but at the end of the day, it's just a ploy to instill a dictatorship. But that's what I wanted to get to. Like, why is communism such a constant prevailing selling point for a lot of these people? And I feel like I feel like that answer, it's kind of obvious, but people don't really want to say. So obviously, the whole thing of communism, the whole thing of socialism, and that's why communism is making a big jump nowadays, is because it's all basically piggybacking off Christianity, piggybacking off the selling point of religion, particularly Christianity. You know, to do away with the hierarchy, to do away with the status quo of today. The status quo of different levels, and there's people with all the money, and then we're here fucked, and we're here suffering, we're here being abused, and we're being extorted, and we're blah 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 blah. Right? And so what communism does is say eradicate those levels, eradicate that hierarchy, and then make everyone equal. And I don't think it's very difficult for anybody to understand why it's so appealing to a few people. Same thing why it's appealing to Christianity. And obviously I'm tying in Christianity because every single fucking Latin American country is Catholic or Christian or whatever the fuck, they're very religious, Honduras, my mom is very religious, and, it's obvious. Latin American countries are obviously religious. So for me, it is not difficult for me to understand, it is not difficult for me to perceive how one can jump one to the other. But, diverging here. So that's what communism does, right? It does away with that. It basically sells a utopia where everyone's the same, everyone has the same food, the same house, the same everything, right? We're all equal, There is no one better. There is no one better. We're all equal under this new dictatorship of the proletariat, as they say. It is the same fucking shit with different words here and there that Christianity is. Okay? That's the selling point of Christianity. That's why Christianity took off the way it did back in the early Roman Empire. You know what I'm saying? Because in Greek and Roman mythology, only the greats, only the famous people, only motherfuckers that conquer shit are going to Elysium, which is either that religious equivalent of heaven. And obviously during those times there were slaves and serfdom. Well, no, serfdom was actually not going on until quite a bit later, but tenant farmers and bullshit like that, right? So a lot of people were born with basically 99%, like it's a 99% chance you are going to remain exactly in the same pitiful state that you were born in throughout the entire course of your fucking existence, right? You were born at the bottom of the totem pole. You were born in a position of extortion. You were born in a position of servitude, and there's no way out. You are going to suffer, and when you die, according to the religions, you're going to hell because you're useless and you were unimportant, and you did absolutely nothing. So thereby, you're going to hell, which is Hades or whatever the fuck. So, with that in mind, Christianity is obviously a religion like Christianity. You know, where God, Jesus in the fucking New Testament says, it is easier for a man to enter through the eye of a needle than, or a camel to enter the eye of a needle than. Oh yeah, it's easier for a camel to enter through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven, right? According to Christianity, we're all equal before God. You know, we're all the same before God. There is no levels. There is no I'm better than you, or you're better than your neighbor, based off, not even based off pure social standing, which is what I like, whatever. Because we have, a lot of the times we have no choice, with the hands we were dealt with when we were born. A lot of times I have issues because we are equal before God, even with talent being thrown out of the way. Because whether you want to admit it or not, we're not equal. No one's equal. You know what I'm saying? And but that's what it is with Christianity. That we're all equal before God, so it does away with the hierarchy. The hierarchy is eradicated with that statement, or with that mentality or philosophy in mind. And then to add it on it further, what does Christianity say? To get rid of material possessions, to get rid of pride. Pride is the original sin, and pride is the sensation or the feeling or the emotional state or psychological state which drives us to be better. You know what I'm saying? To not remain in the same level. And I'm sorry, guys. I just got out of the shower and I'm apparently having a reaction or some shit. But to get rid of material possessions, to be okay with being poor, that you are suffering for something better in the afterlife, right? That all the suffering you're going through now, all the servitude, it doesn't matter, because you're going to reach utopia when you get to heaven, when you die, because God loves his poor people, right? Because the rich man, the men who have status, the men who have power, are the ones that are stuck to the ways of the world, right? They're not placing themselves in a subservient position to God, because they're still going after material possessions, whether it be status, whether it be power, whether it be money, and things of that nature, right? So obviously, philosophy like that is going to be extremely appealing to the poor people. It's basically saying that you're the chosen ones. Not the rich ones. The chosen ones are you, the poor man, the poor woman that is suffering. But as long as you're with God, you're going to reach a utopia. This suffering is going to mean something. And this utopia doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter how much money you were with. But in heaven, everyone's a fucking same. Now, what is communism? It is bringing that utopia in heaven and bringing it down on earth. It's the same thing. Obviously, Latin American countries, for the most part, are pretty impoverished. For the most part, there are many people through, obviously, I'm not saying that the entirety of fucking Central and South America are absolutely fucked. But there are big pockets of impoverished cities and pieces of every single fucking nation. People living in huts, people, living on dirt roads and huts and shit like that, and barely have anything to eat, and suffering with not a lot of outlet, or no outlet, or very limited amount of possibilities in order to achieve something greater, to get out of that hole, to get out of that place of servitude, to get out of that place of suffering. So I could talk about Christianity for hours on end, but with that, what I just said in mind, right? Translate that onto communism, which brings that utopia to the world. You don't have to wait to die to reach this utopia. You don't have to wait that long. No. Be communist, and everyone could suffer just as much as you. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say. Communism, Christianity is for jealous, spiteful motherfuckers that they want everyone to suffer along with them. like Nietzsche said. But I'll rip communism, like Christianity, for real, on another time. But so, like I said, a lot of these countries are already Catholic, which is basically Christian. So with this Christian ideology in mind, with this Christian ideology brainwashed to them that they're suffering all this shit, it's going to reach them to utopia. So it is not a difficult transition from Christianity to the appeal of communism, because like I said, it's the same fucking thing. It's literally the same thing. You're doing away with the hierarchy. There is no hierarchy. The money is being spread everywhere. Everyone's going to be the same. Everyone's going to have the same thing. You are not going to be constantly reminded of your fucked up situation. You are not going to be constantly reminded of your botched existence. Because guess what? Everyone's going to be suffering right along with you. It's not a difficult philosophy to sell to people who are suffering. Not a difficult philosophy for people in that sort of position to really be excited, to be a part of, to participate in, to hope that it actually transpires the way they say it's going to transpire. And I feel like that's probably a big reason why communism continues to pop up in Latin American countries. Because to this day, there's quite a bit of impoverishment. Peru just, in the last election, the Communist Party just won in Peru. And where did most of those votes come from? The rural areas, the poor and impoverished areas. And they're quite a bit ignorant. Education and literature has a huge part to play in why people vote for things that are eventually going to fuck them over. But it's true, and it's not a difficult transition to understand, that's why even now, even here in the fucking United States, you got people wanting communism. They want to do away with the hierarchy. They want to do away with a system that they perceive has placed them in a subservient role against their will. That they feel they have no way out, that they're suffering needlessly because other people are being selfish, other people have the status, other people have the power. So they want an equal and level playing field. Everyone suffers the same. To bring utopia to earth. You know what I'm saying? That's why in the Brothers Karamazov, I forgot who said this, but they're saying like the most dangerous thing is a Christian that's socialist. And that's fucking true. It's a very scary thing. People say it's a contradictory thing. I don't think so. I think they reach the same conclusion with different vernacular, to be quite honest with you. And it's nothing but a pipe dream. But people eat it up because people are desperate. People in those sort of positions are desperate. They're looking for any way out, any possibility that they might get a little bit more food, get a little bit better shelter, or whatever the case may be. When you're in those sort of desperate situations, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a whole lot to convince you or to get you on board, like, oh, I'm right in this fucked up situation. No, what's the worst that can happen if I try to do something new? And that's really what it is. And that's, it's socialism basically, I've always said this, basically piggybacks off the selling point of Christianity. It basically, it targets your suffering, it targets your envy. That's basically what it is. Like, I'm not saying that, all the people are in fucked up situations are only envious and, whatever it is. Obviously, it's much more complicated than that. So people, like I said, really don't have a choice in the matter. But a fucking truth in this world is that inequality will never disappear. It's a pipe dream. It's a dream. It's a dream for fools. It's a dream for the desperate. You are never going to be rid of inequality. And I'm not being an apologist for those who, are using their statuses for their own selfish reasons. But at the same time, bro, it's not that black and white. Like, some people make it out to be like socialists nowadays. Like, every single person has money. Every single person has status, fucking bribed or someone's dick to get there. Like, no, there's just some people that are better than you, and they fucking put their head down and put in the work. They They got what they knew could be theirs. But at the end of the day, there will always be inequality. There will always be a dominance hierarchy. There will always be a hierarchy. There will always be levels. Just like how communism and Christianity both are flawed, is that they don't take into account human nature. Who the fuck wants to be equal? Who the fuck wants any of that? No one. It's a fucking lie. Yeah. But that's why I feel like it's really going to continue to remain a problem in Latin American countries, because a lot of people feel like they're being extorted from foreign powers, and other foreign countries are making millions when the country of the people itself are broke as fuck. They're poor. And yet people are making money, millions, billions of dollars off the products and the indigenous resources that are being provided from that specific country itself. Look at Peru, of all the gold that people are getting out of there. And yet people are poor as fuck. And it's always going to be that way. And like I said, I'm not an apologist, and I don't condone that sort of extortionist behavior. But it's that difficult to understand why communism will always remain a prevailing issue, because there's no other choice. A lot of people, for a lot of people, like, what else is there? What other hope can they possibly put their lives for, unless they're going to wait and hope that the religion is correct, that when they die there is a heaven and there is a God, and the judgment is going to be accorded in the way that it was written down on a piece of paper by a bunch of humans. That's the only other hope that they have. So that's basically a quick thought on it. I'm gonna make it episode about Christianity very soon, but I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on it. Obviously not very quick, but quick. Better than I thought it was going to be. So hope you guys found something educational about it. Hope it gets you, rationalizing and perceiving things in a different manner and from a different perspective. So thank you guys for listening and watching, and continuing to support. I do appreciate it very much. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, help me out with the fucking algorithm. I got a whole lot of competition. It is YouTube. And we are in the social media era, so all of that is very much appreciated. And, hope everyone has a great day. And until next time, love y'all. Peace.